The moment I saw her, I thought the lights themselves had dimmed to let her shine. "I can't believe someone actually made this dress for me," she whispered, brushing her fingers over the fabric like it was woven from moonlight. "You look incredible." Her smile, bright, flawless, blinding, made my chest tighten. "Do you really think so?" she asked, tilting her head, those emerald eyes locking with mine. "I do. You could light up a city with that smile." She laughed softly, leaning closer. "You're too kind. Most people just stare and pretend not to be jealous." "I'm not most people." Reached out, her hand brushing mine briefly. A shock of warmth ran through me. "I've always dreamed of this life," she said, voice low. "Luxury, travel, diamonds." "Everything beautiful? Diamonds?" I asked, a nervous laugh escaping me. "You don't mean literally?" She shook her head, laughing again. "Maybe I do. Isn't that silly?" "Not at all," I said. "I mean, who wouldn't want beautiful things?" Her eyes softened. "I don't just want them. I want to earn them, or someone special to help me. Life hasn't exactly been generous." "Tell me about it," I said. "I get it. I really do." I wanted to take her hand, to tell her I'd protect her from the world. She looked around the gala, voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Some people, they smile, they talk, but they only see what they can take. I've learned to hide what I really want." "I don't think that's you," I said quickly. "You're honest. Beautifully honest." "Thank you," she breathed, and I felt her gratitude like a spark inside me. "You're different, you know? Most men just play the game. You see me?" "I see you," I said, and I meant it. Though I didn't know if I truly understood her yet, we talked for hours about dreams. About ambitions. About all the glittering things I could barely imagine buying. She listened to my plans with rapt attention, asking questions, laughing at jokes I didn't think were funny. Every word made me feel important, needed, alive. Then he came over. A tall man, his hand brushing hers with a familiarity I didn't understand. "Lily," he said, voice low, intimate. She smiled, leaning into him, laughing at something he whispered. I froze. My stomach turned. "Who's that?" I asked, trying to sound casual. Double quotes, "Oh, just a friend," she said too quickly. "We've known each other a long time," I nodded, forcing a smile. "Of course, I just didn't expect him here. He's harmless," she added, brushing my arm with a touch that was too light to comfort me. "Really, don't worry," but worry gnawed at me anyway. Something about the way she laughed, the way he leaned closer, my chest tightened in a way I couldn't ignore. "I'll grab us drinks," I said. Excusing myself, trying to shake the knot in my stomach, she didn't protest. She just smiled, that perfect smile, and I convinced myself I was imagining things. Later, when we walked to the valet, she spoke softly, almost like a secret. "You're different from anyone I've met. You really see me." "I do," I whispered back. "And I'll do anything to make you happy." She glanced up at me, eyes glinting with something I couldn't name. "I know," she said, almost teasing. "And that's why I think maybe, just maybe, we're meant for something incredible." I smiled, unaware of the first lie, the first crack. That night, her hand felt warm in mine, her laugh sounded like music, and I was blind to the hunger beneath her grin. I didn't know it yet, but I had just stepped into the beginning of my own downfall. I had a sinking feeling the moment she started telling the story again about her debts. Her unlucky past, the man who supposedly ruined her business before she met me. "You don't think that's a little much?" I asked, sipping my coffee. "What do you mean?" She tilted her head, giving me that perfect, innocent look. "That story about your ex, it keeps changing," I said carefully. "Last week it was a partner. Now it's a family friend." Her lips curved into a small, practiced smile. I might have gotten some details mixed up. You know how memories are. I wanted to believe her. I really did. "Mixed up? It sounds like a pattern." "Pattern?" She laughed softly. "I'm just telling my life as it comes. You don't need to overthink it." Later, I called my best friend. "I think she's lying about a lot of things," I admitted. "You think?" he said, sighing. "I've been trying to tell you, man. Something's off." "I know, but she's different." I can feel it, I argued, though doubt gnawed at me. You're blinded? He said sharply. I've seen this before. People can charm you while taking everything you've got. I know, I muttered, frustrated. I don't want to see it yet. Not her. That evening, I went to the office she insisted on visiting. She was leaning against a desk, laughing at something a young business associate said. The way her hand brushed his shoulder lingered too long. I couldn't ignore the twist in my stomach. Who's he? I asked, trying to sound casual. Oh, that's Jordan, she said smoothly, eyes bright. He's helping me understand this market trend. I stepped closer. Helping, huh? That wasn't the way your hand touched his arm. Her smile didn't falter. You worry too much. He's just a friend. We talk about business. That's all, right? I said, but my voice held sharpness. I couldn't hide. Just business. Later, as we walked to the car, I tried to push the feeling down. Sometimes I feel like I don't know you at all, I said quietly. She laughed, a soft, melodic sound that somehow hurt. You do? Silly? You see me more than anyone else. That's why you're special. I wanted to believe her words, but my gut twisted. Something in the way she said it didn't match what I'd seen. You've been asking me for money a lot lately, I said carefully. For the investments, the debts, it's getting serious. Her eyes widened, innocent and startled. I wouldn't ask if I didn't need it. I wouldn't. I know, I admitted, even though the doubt was loud in my chest. I worry. I feel like there's always another reason. She reached for my hand, warm and steady. Trust me. This time, it's different. I found a deal high risk, yes, but it will change everything for us. I frowned. High risk. Big rewards, she said, her eyes sparkling. If we do this together, it'll secure our future. Diamonds. The life we've dreamed about, everything we've talked about. I hesitated, heart pounding. And if it fails? She shook her head, a sly confidence in her smile. It won't fail. Not with you. Not with us. Don't you believe in me? I wanted to scream, to demand proof, to run away. But I felt trapped in her gaze. I do believe in you, I whispered. Even though every instinct screamed danger. Later that night, I replayed every word, every touch, every smile. Was it paranoia? Or was it truth? I wanted to be certain, but certainty had abandoned me. Maybe I'm imagining things, I muttered to myself. Maybe she's just charming. That's all. Yet the image of her leaning on Jordan's shoulder, laughing like I didn't exist, haunted me. I reminded myself why I couldn't let go. Her plans, her promises, they were too tempting. The risk she offered was also the key to everything I wanted. I sighed, rubbing my eyes. All right, I whispered. I'll do it. I'll trust you this once. I hope it's worth it. Her smile, bright and disarming, felt like victory and betrayal all at once. I didn't know it yet. But agreeing to this investment would pull me deeper into a web I wasn't prepared to escape. I didn't want to believe it at first. Not when I saw the documents on my desk. My bank statements, my investments, money missing, diverted, quietly siphoned away. I slammed my fist down. Lily, I shouted. She appeared in the doorway, calm as ever. What is it? I waved the papers. Explain this. Why is money missing? Why are there transfers to Jordan? Her smile was sharp, almost cruel. Oh, those. You're overreacting. It's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like. I repeated, voice rising. Thousands gone. And you've been working with him behind my back? She tilted her head. Working with him? He's a business associate. We've spoken about opportunities. You've been paranoid? Paranoid? I laughed bitterly. Do you have any idea how that feels? How it feels to be betrayed by the person you trusted most? I never betrayed you, she said smoothly. You chose to believe your fears instead of listening to me. Maybe you're imagining things. I shook my head, disbelief burning in my chest. Imagining things. I have the proof. Emails, bank transfers, everything. She sighed, almost theatrically. I can't control your obsession with evidence. I only asked for help. I never forced you. And as for money, well, you've been so generous, haven't you? Her words cut me deeper than any insult could. Generous? I'd given her everything, and she twisted it like it was my fault. I trusted you. I yelled. I believed in us. Us, she asked, feigning innocence. Do you even know what that means to me? Or are you just clinging to an idea? My chest tightened. You've been planning with him from the start. Every smile, every touch, all lies. She shrugged. Plans change. People change. Maybe I saw someone more ambitious. Can you blame me for wanting better? I felt nausea rise. Better. Better for who? For you or for him? She stepped closer. I can't help it if I'm drawn to opportunity. You were blind to it. I only wanted to survive, thrive, like anyone would. I loved you, I said, my voice cracking. I gave you everything. And you stop? She interrupted. Stop playing the victim. You have a choice. You can sulk, or you can move forward. I've done what I needed, and so should you. Her calm twisted me further. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to tear her apart with my words. But all I could do was step back, chest heaving, heart shattered. I closed my eyes, trying to make sense of the storm inside me. How could you... I whispered to myself. How could you do this to me? You don't even understand, she said softly, almost pitying. You're too naive. Life isn't fair. People aren't honest. You think the world owes you something? I sank into my chair, feeling hollow. I don't know who I am anymore, I admitted, voice barely audible. I trusted you. I gave everything and you gave, she said, voice cold. And now you have nothing. Isn't that what you wanted to learn? I couldn't stay there. I stormed out, slamming the door behind me. My phone rang. Friends, family, everyone ignored. I didn't want to hear their voices. I didn't want their sympathy. I walked the streets alone, rain beginning to fall. Each drop a reminder of how much I had lost. My heart burned, my mind raced. Betrayal twisted in every thought. Humiliation, anger, grief, they all blended into a single, aching clarity. I clenched my fists. If she can take everything from me, if she can betray me and get away with it, I whispered, teeth gritted, I will rise higher. I will show her what she lost. She will see. She will know. The vow burned in my chest, hotter than rage, purer than revenge. Not yet, not now. But soon, she would understand the price of her deceit. And in that moment, amid the storm, the betrayal, and the emptiness, I realized something terrifying and exhilarating. I wasn't broken. I was just beginning. I sat in my empty apartment, the hum of the city outside matching the chaos in my head. My phone buzzed messages from friends, worried texts, calls I didn't answer. Are you still alive in there? My loyal friend's voice said, when I finally picked up, I'm here, I muttered, staring at the floor. You sound hollow, he said softly. Talk to me. Don't shut me out. I don't know what to say, I admitted. Everything's gone. She took it all, my trust, my money, my focus. I feel broken. You're not broken, he insisted. You're tired, hurt, human, but you can rebuild. You have to start small, one step at a time. I don't even know where to start, I said, my voice raw. I feel like I failed at everything. No, he said firmly. You were betrayed. That's not failure. You survived it. That's more than most people manage. I rubbed my face. It doesn't feel like surviving. It feels like drowning. Then start floating, he said, and I heard a smile in his voice. I've known someone who can help. A mentor, if you want guidance. Someone who's been through losses and still came out stronger. I hesitated. Mentor? Yes, he's sharp, practical, honest. No but he can help you see clearly, plan wisely. Maybe, I said, unsure. I can't trust Isley anymore. You don't have to trust blindly. You just have to listen, my friend said. Come by tomorrow. Meet him. then decide. The next day, I did. His office smelled of leather and old books. He looked at me with steady eyes. "I've heard your story," he said. "Pain changes people, but it doesn't have to destroy them." "I feel destroyed," I said, voice tight. "Good," he said. "Anger and heartbreak are powerful if you use them. Don't waste them on regret. Focus, build, act with purpose."
Focus.
I asked, I don't even know where to start." He smiled slightly. "Start with what's in front of you. Rebuild slowly. Test every decision. Trust proven allies. That's how you regain power." I nodded, listening, feeling the first flicker of something I hadn't felt in weeks. Control. "Think of it as assembling a puzzle," he said. "One piece at a time. Each move matters." I left his office with a notebook full of ideas. My loyal friend was waiting. "So?" he asked. "So," I said slowly, "I can do this. One step at a time. I won't be naive again. I'll be careful, strategic, focused." "That's the spirit," he said, clapping my shoulder. "And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Lean on people who care. They'll support you." Smiled faintly. "I've ignored them too long. I'll reconnect. I need their perspective, their honesty. I can't isolate myself forever. Good isolation is dangerous. Reflection is good. Isolation is toxic," he said firmly. I spent the next days drafting business plans, small ventures, careful investments. Every decision I made was measured, deliberate. When doubt crept in, I reminded myself of what I had learned. Patience and clarity outweigh impulsive emotion. "Do you really think I can recover?" I asked my friend one evening, staring at my laptop. "I don't think," he said. "I know. You're resilient. You've survived betrayal, humiliation, heartbreak. That alone proves your strength." I chuckled bitterly. "Strength feels fragile right now." "It's not fragile," he said. "It's just untested. Every step you take proves it stronger. Trust in your actions, not in her lies." I leaned back, exhaling slowly. "All right," I said to myself. "I'll focus. I'll rebuild. I'll be smarter, stronger. And next time, no one will take advantage of me." For the first time since the betrayal, I felt a flicker of hope. It wasn't happiness. It wasn't joy. It was determination, raw and steady, and it was enough to start picking up the pieces. I could feel momentum building. Every small victory, every successful deal was like a spark in the darkness. "Your projections are solid," my business contact said, scanning the spreadsheet I'd painstakingly created. "Most people wouldn't see this opportunity the way you do." "I see patterns," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I don't take chances blindly." He nodded. "I like that. Calculated risk is smarter than gambling, especially in this market." I smiled slightly. "Exactly. I've learned that the hard way." He looked curious. "Learned the hard way?" I chuckled. "Let's just say some people teach lessons you never forget." Later, I saw her name online. Headlines screaming about her lavish spending, failed deals, and the envy of socialites. My stomach twisted, but not with anger. Calm, cold calculation took its place. "Looks like she's struggling," I said quietly to my assistant. "Flamboyant as always, but reckless." "She's always been reckless," my assistant said. "It's only catching up now." I nodded. "Good. Let's make sure the systems we're building are tight. Our dependency will become obvious soon enough." Days later, I sat in a negotiation room with a competitor. "I'm willing to invest," I said. "But terms must be fair and transparent. I won't be manipulated again." The competitor leaned back, studying me. "You've changed. There's a steel in your eyes I haven't seen before." "Experience," I said. "Pain has a way of sharpening focus." We shook hands, the deal sealed. My network expanded. Connections grew stronger. Knowledge became my armor. Every conversation, every negotiation, I measured, planned, and positioned myself to outshine her without her realizing it. She, meanwhile, continued in her world of glitter and empty promises. Her enablers, oblivious to my influence, unknowingly funneled her into systems I controlled. Every supplier, every associate I introduced, created a silent leverage she didn't see. She's relying on our network more than she realizes. I told my loyal friend later, every decision she makes feeds the structure I'm building. You're saying you're setting her up? He asked cautiously. Not setting up, I said. She's already playing her part. I'm just letting the dominoes fall naturally. I met with another contact, negotiating terms for a project she had publicly criticized. I can offer guidance, I said, voice calm. But the execution must be precise. Half measures won't work. He nodded. Your reputation precedes you. People trust your judgment. I've earned it, I said simply. Through mistakes, through lessons. That evening, I reviewed the reports. She had invested in a venture I had advised against. Predictable. Her enablers were blind, her decisions impulsive. I allowed myself a faint smile. She's walking straight into the consequences. I said aloud, almost to myself. Night. I'll be ready. My loyal friend called. You sound different. Calm, focused. I've stopped reacting, I said. I plan, I observe, I wait. Every move she makes is just information for me now. That's smart, he said. Okay. Strategy, not hatred. Revenge isn't about malice. It's about clarity, about restoring balance. A few weeks later, I attended a social event where she made a grand appearance. Flamboyant, dramatic, seeking attention, her enablers whispered. Guided her steps, but every path she took was subtly influenced by my structures. She thinks she's untouchable, I muttered, sipping my drink. She's about to learn otherwise. My loyal friend said with a grin. I watched her laugh at an empty toast, unaware that the very systems she depended on, supply chains, contacts, partnerships I had cultivated, were now under my influence. I didn't need to intervene. She was already dancing to my rhythm unknowingly, every step, every mistake. Later, I sat alone, reviewing contracts and investments. My phone buzzed with updates from business contacts. Everything aligned. Small victory, every lesson, every connection led to this, a foundation stronger than she could ever imagine. She can't afford to know how much control I have, I whispered. She's building her own cage. And in that quiet moment, I realized the first seed of revenge had been sown. Not with hatred, not with malice, but with patience, strategy, and precision. The launch was everything I had worked for. My venture went live, and the response was immediate. Lines, tweets, media buzz. I watched it all unfold with a quiet satisfaction. You did it, my loyal friend said over the phone. People are noticing. Big time, I did, I said calmly. You've already surpassed expectations. Everyone's talking about your strategy, your insight. Insight isn't enough, I said. Execution matters more. Then my phone buzzed with a message. Her name flashed across the screen. I stared at it for a moment before opening it. Hey, I've been meaning to congratulate you. Can we meet? I'd love to talk. I smirked. So predictable, I muttered. You're smiling, my loyal friend said. I'm not, I replied. I'm just curious. We agreed to meet at a quiet cafe. She arrived, impeccably dressed, as if stepping into a magazine spread. Her smile was dazzling, practiced. I've missed talking to you, she said, sliding into the seat across from me. I see, I said, keeping my voice neutral. I hear you've been busy. Busy? She tilted her head. I've been exploring opportunities. You know how life is. Yes, I know, I said, eyes steady. And some opportunities are better than others. I've noticed your ventures have struggled. Her smile faltered just a fraction. Challenges happen to everyone. You know that. I do, I said. But some mistakes are avoidable. Others aren't. She leaned in, voice soft. I wanted to reach out because I thought maybe we could start fresh. Friends, at least. Friends, I repeated. After everything? She shrugged lightly. I've changed. Don't you want to forgive? Don't you want peace? I want clarity, I said calmly. I've learned that peace comes from understanding, not from pretending, and I understand you. Her eyes narrowed slightly. You've grown cold. No, I said. I've grown aware, stronger, smarter. I see things clearly now. She laughed softly, a mix of charm and desperation. You're not angry at all? I'm not stupid, I replied. I've had my moments, yes. But anger clouds judgment. Now, I said, leaning back, I continue forward. You continue with your life. I've set my path. I advise you do the same. She tilted her head, searching my expression. Is this revenge? I shook my head. No, not revenge. Justice, maybe. Karma. Life has a way of balancing itself. I simply let it happen naturally. She blinked, unsure. You're different. I had to be, I said. What happened taught me more than any book, any mentor, any lecture. I've grown because of it. You didn't see it coming, did you? Her face flushed slightly, pride warring with embarrassment. I never meant you did, I interrupted, softly but firmly. And now you see the consequences. Not because I acted cruelly, but because your choices spoke louder than words. She looked down, voice low. You're amazing. You've turned everything around. I've turned myself around, I corrected. You were part of my past, that's all. I've built my present without you, and my future will be mine alone. She nodded slowly, a mixture of admiration and frustration. I suppose that's fair. Yes, I said, eyes unwavering. Fair and inevitable. We sat in silence for a moment. I didn't gloat, didn't taunt. I simply observed, letting her realize the power shift without interference. She tried to charm, to sway, but I had learned restraint. I had learned patience. You don't even look at me the way you used to, she whispered. I look at the truth, I said, and it's clear now. I don't need illusions. I don't need lies. I see the reality of people, their choices, and their consequences. She exhaled, a faint sigh of defeat. I underestimated you. You underestimated yourself, I said quietly. And now you're learning what it means to face the results. We parted without promises, without threats. She left with her pride intact, but her control slipping. I stayed, watching the cafe's quiet hum, savoring the knowledge that patience and strategy had replaced anger and desperation. The power had shifted, and I held it not with cruelty, but with composure. Karma was no longer an abstract concept. It was real, and I was ready for what came next. I heard the news before she even called. Headlines splashed across my screen. Failed investments, public scrutiny. Socialite gossip, mocking her missteps. She's in trouble, my loyal friend said. Leaning over my shoulder, I see that, I said calmly, sipping my coffee. It's what I expected. Predictable, really. Later my phone rang. Her name appeared. I stared at it, considered ignoring it, then answered, Hello. I said, voice neutral. It's me, she stammered. I don't know where to start. Everything's falling apart. I heard I said softly. I can imagine it's difficult. She laughed bitterly. It's humiliating. Everyone's laughing at me. My friends, they've abandoned me. My investor's gone. And I have nowhere to turn. I'm sorry you're facing this, I said carefully. But some lessons are unavoidable. She paused, voice trembling. You could help. You could guide me. I trusted you before. Maybe you still care. I care about truth, I said. You'll have to decide if you're willing to follow it. I can't do your work for you. Her laugh cracked, shaky and bitter. I don't understand. You were always so calm. You don't take pleasure in my pain? No, I said. Pleasure in someone else's downfall isn't what this is. It's consequences. Actions have outcomes. You've seen them unfold. She sniffled, voice low. I lost everything. The jewelry, the letters, the apartments, all of it. And I thought I was untouchable. You believed what you wanted to believe, I said. That's always the dangerous part. Pride blinds. Her voice shook. I thought I could charm, manipulate, survive anything. And now Now, I said gently, you face reality. It's uncomfortable, yes. Painful, yes. But necessary. I never meant for it to come to this, she whispered. Intentions matter less than outcomes, I replied. You learned that the hard way. She sighed, audibly exhausted. So you'll help me? I can offer advice, I said carefully, but only if you're ready to hear it. If you want to change, not just escape. Step 1, acknowledge what went wrong. Step 2, act deliberately. Step 3, accept responsibility. I don't know if I can, she admitted. I've lost so much. I feel powerless. Powerless is a feeling, I said. It doesn't have to define you. Focus on what you can control. Start small. Correct one mistake at a time. Her voice softened. Even if I fail? Even if you fail, I said. Failure isn't shameful. Ignoring lessons is... We were silent for a moment. I could hear her breathing, shaky but steadying. Somewhere beneath her panic, pride, and regret, I sensed a flicker of understanding. Why? Why are you so calm? She asked finally. Because I learned patience, I said. And because I know life unfolds naturally, you don't need me to punish you. Life is doing that perfectly on its own. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I think I underestimated you. I underestimated myself. Maybe, I said quietly. But realization is the first step to rebuilding. Everything else comes next. Later, I walked past her old apartment building. The lights were off, the space empty, silent except for echoes of her lavish past. A discarded envelope caught my eye, a letter I had once seen her treasure. She had dropped it unnoticed. I didn't pick it up. It was symbolic enough. She's learning, I muttered. Slowly. The consequences there, unavoidable. But she'll survive them if she's willing to change. I didn't feel glee. I didn't feel malice. I felt quiet satisfaction, the kind that comes when justice unfolds without interference. Pride had been humbled. Recklessness had met reality. The world was balancing itself, naturally, inevitably. And in that silence, I realized something vital. Patience, strategy, and composure were more satisfying than anger. Watching the natural course of her consequences was proof that restraint often outshines revenge. Her world crumbled. Yes, but I stayed calm, collected, and ready for the next chapter. The seeds of her downfall had grown, and the garden was now hers to navigate alone. Humbled and learning, she appeared at my office without warning. The moment I saw her, I knew this wasn't casual. Her eyes were wide, her posture tense. I need to talk to you, she said, voice trembling. Come in, I said calmly, gesturing to a chair. My tone was neutral. Collected, she sank into the seat, avoiding my gaze. I messed up. Everything, it's collapsing. And I don't know what to do. I've seen the news, I said. Your investments, your social circle, all of it. What exactly do you expect from me? I need help, she admitted. I was wrong. I was reckless. I trusted the wrong people, made terrible decisions, and I stop. I said gently, holding up a hand. Don't blame others entirely. You made choices. Own them. That's the only way forward. Her lips quivered. I thought you would. I thought maybe you could fix this. Guide me. Guidance. I said, voice steady, but not forgiveness. Not shortcuts. You must face consequences. You must understand what your actions cost you. She stared at me, eyes brimming with unshed tears. Do you hate me? No, I said. Hate is useless. I won't waste energy on malice. Pain is inevitable. Wisdom comes from how we respond. I've learned that clearly. Her hands fidgeted nervously. You changed. You're not the same person I knew. You're calm, controlled. I don't understand. I had to change, I said, leaning back slightly. Anger taught me patience. Heartbreak taught me clarity. Betrayal taught me focus. I am stronger now because of what happened. She shook her head, voice breaking. I thought I could manipulate you, charm you, and I destroyed us instead. And now you've surpassed me. Yes, I said softly. I've surpassed not to punish, but to grow. My path doesn't require your approval, your charm, or your interference. I've built my strength from lessons, not illusions. I never wanted this to happen, she whispered. I didn't realize how far I was going. I understand intent is different from outcome, I said. You underestimated the consequences. You underestimated the power of patience, of strategy, of resilience. And now you face them. Tears ran down her cheeks. I don't know how to fix this. I was proud, arrogant, reckless, and I failed. I betrayed you, and I can't undo it. Can't undo it, I said, voice calm, firm. But you can learn. That's the only way forward. Not by pleading, not by manipulating, but by reflecting, by acting deliberately, and by accepting responsibility. She closed her eyes, whispering, I was so blind. I thought I could take from you and never face consequences. You faced the reality, I said gently. Not because I acted cruelly, not because I sought revenge. Life balanced itself. You learned humility the hard way. I don't deserve, she started, voice breaking. You don't deserve shortcuts, I interrupted softly. You deserve understanding only if you choose to grow. Otherwise, you will repeat your mistakes. She looked at me, voice barely audible. You're incredible. I didn't realize I was just human, I said. I made mistakes. I suffered. And I learned. That's all. You too have the chance to do the same. But not by relying on others. By relying on yourself. She nodded slowly, defeated. Pride drained from her face, replaced with humility and regret. I understand. I'll try. Thank you for being honest. I offered a small, approving nod. That's all I can give. The rest is up to you. She stood, hesitated, then turned to leave. I didn't call her back. I didn't speak another word. The room was silent, except for the faint hum of the city outside. As the door clicked shut behind her, I felt no malice, no triumph. Only clarity. Only the quiet satisfaction that comes from patience, strategy, and self-mastery. The confrontation was over. She had faced the truth. I had remained unchanged by her pleas. My journey continued, stronger, wiser, and fully in control of my own life. I walked into the conference room, the hum of the city outside barely noticeable compared to the energy inside. My partners were waiting, a mix of seasoned veterans and promising newcomers, all eager to contribute. Your growth has been remarkable, one of my allies said, glancing at the charts on the table. We've never seen a turnaround like this. You've transformed not just your business, but your entire approach. Thank you, I said, voice calm but steady. It's been a journey. Every challenge, every mistake, it brought clarity. A mentor nodded from the corner. Remember, brilliance isn't born overnight. Diamonds are formed under pressure. You've been forged, and it shows. I smiled faintly. Pressure was the teacher I couldn't ignore. Heartbreak, betrayal, every lesson was painful, but necessary. One partner leaned forward. You make it sound so simple. How did you turn setbacks into strategy? Not simple, I said. Deliberate. I stopped reacting emotionally and started observing, planning, executing. I focused on control over impulse. Another ally spoke. Your past vulnerabilities, they made you stronger. You transformed adversity into opportunity. That's rare. Yes, I admitted. I was naive once. I trusted blindly, gave too much, and lost. But losing taught me where my strength lies. You've built more than wealth, my mentor said. You've built resilience, credibility, and respect. People want to follow that. I glanced at my notes. I've also learned to recognize true partners. Trust isn't given lightly anymore. It's earned. That's how we grow sustainably. A new partner spoke up. hesitant but curious. How do you maintain composure when facing chaos or betrayal? I leaned back slightly. Perspective. Every storm I've faced, I've survived. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every deceit, they were lessons. Now, I don't see chaos as a threat. I see it as information. I see opportunity where others see panic. She nodded, absorbing the words. And your team? How do you inspire loyalty without micromanaging? By setting standards and holding myself accountable first, I said, by showing that integrity and strategy matter more than shortcuts or charm, people respond to authenticity and competence. During a brief pause, I remembered her smile, her lies, the way I had given everything and been betrayed. But now, that memory was no longer a wound. It was a lesson etched into the foundation of who I had become. I see now, I said quietly, almost to myself, that betrayal wasn't the end. It was the spark. What was that? One of the allies asked, curious. Just reflection, I said, smiling faintly. Sometimes, the greatest lessons come from moments you thought would break you. One mentor nodded. Exactly. Diamonds are beautiful because they're compressed, pressured, and refined. You are living proof. I looked around the room. And now we move forward. Every decision we make, every venture we take, it must reflect our discipline, patience, and vision. We don't rush. We plan, we execute, and we rise. Another ally spoke more softly. You've transformed your heartbreak into brilliance. It's inspiring. Not just your resilience, but your ability to guide others through challenges too. Yes, I said, feeling the weight of the moment. I've learned to turn personal pain into collective growth. Every misstep I once made is now a step forward for us all. The partner asked, do you ever regret trusting the wrong person? I shook my head. Regret is useless. I feel gratitude instead. Grateful for the clarity, the lessons, the resilience I gained. Grateful that I can now see people clearly, act decisively, and build something lasting. The room fell quiet for a moment. I looked at my allies, at the eager eyes, the nodding heads. I realized how far I had come from vulnerability, heartbreak, and manipulation, to a place of strength, strategy, and calm confidence. The past shaped us, I said, voice steady. But it doesn't define us. We define ourselves through action, integrity, and focus. That's how we rise from ashes, stronger and more brilliant than before. As the meeting ended, I stepped outside, sunlight reflecting off the glass. I thought of diamonds formed under pressure, refined by time, unbreakable. My journey, once forged by betrayal and heartbreak, had created brilliance of its own. I inhaled deeply. This is just the beginning, I whispered. The world will see what strength truly looks like. The news hit me first thing in the morning. Her name, in bold letters across every financial and social column, failed ventures. Bankruptcy filings, public scrutiny, whispers of scandal. I read through the articles carefully. Each headline a reminder that the world has its own justice. She's completely unraveling, my loyal friend said. Peering over my shoulder, I see that, I replied calmly, sipping my coffee. The consequences are unfolding as they should. No intervention required. Later, she appeared at a charity gala I was attending. Not by invitation, but deliberately, I could tell. She moved through the crowd trying to appear composed, but I saw the desperation in her eyes. Pride was stripped, leaving only the raw edges of panic and regret. She approached me hesitantly. I didn't expect to see you here, she said, voice soft, almost pleading. I expected you to come eventually, I said, keeping my tone neutral even. News travels fast, she laughed nervously. You must think I'm pathetic. Everything's collapsing. I can't believe I trusted myself. I trusted others. And now, I said, cutting her off gently, you face reality, as it should be. As she started, but I held up a hand. No excuses, I said. You've had plenty of time to reflect. Actions have consequences. You see them now. Her eyes flickered to the floor. I thought I could control it all, charm my way through, influence people. And I failed. Yes, I said calmly. You failed because life doesn't bend to ego or manipulation. It follows its own course. You were given opportunities, yet you chose recklessness. Pride blinded you. She shivered slightly. And you've thrived. You're untouchable. I see it now. Everything I thought I had, it's meaningless next to what you built. I built what I could control, I said softly. Not illusions, not charm, not deceit. I built discipline, strategy, and patience. That's unbreakable. That's why I thrive. Her lips trembled. You were broken once. I thought I could break you again. I underestimated you. You did, I admitted, but underestimating me was never the point. Underestimating life, understanding consequences, that was your error. She looked around uneasy, aware of the public gaze, but unable to retreat. I don't even know where to start fixing anything. Everything's gone. Friends, money, status, vanished. Perhaps that's the lesson, I said. Nothing is truly gone if you learn from it. But shortcuts, charm, manipulation, they won't rebuild what's been lost. She swallowed, voice barely audible. Do you even feel satisfaction? Watching me like this? No, I said quietly. Satisfaction would require malice. I feel only recognition of what naturally occurred. Karma isn't mine to wield its life itself, and justice, in its own way, has been served. Her hands shook slightly. So what now? What happens to me? You decide, I said calmly. You either learn, rebuild, and grow. Repeat your mistakes. The choice is yours. I only hope it's the former. She looked down, humiliated, pride stripped. I never realized how much I depended on control, on appearances, on manipulation. And now you see, I said softly. Now you see clearly. That clarity, it's painful, yes. But it's the beginning of understanding. The rest is up to you. She nodded slowly, swallowing back tears. I wish I had known earlier. I wish I had listened. And you may yet, I said. It's not too late to act responsibly, to rebuild honestly. But only if you do it yourself, without shortcuts, without charm, without manipulation. Her voice trembled. I've lost everything, and I deserved it. Yes, I said simply. Acknowledgement is the first step. The rest is action, and maybe humility. It's painful, but necessary. She lingered a moment, searching my expression, looking for anger or satisfaction. Finding none, she finally whispered, I underestimated you. I underestimated myself. And now it's clear. You underestimated reality, I corrected softly. People, choices, consequences. That's the lesson you carry forward. She turned, leaving the gala quietly, head bowed, every step a reminder of her defeat and my composure. The crowd whispered, but I didn't care. I didn't need applause or validation. The world had balanced itself, and I merely stood witness. Later, I met with my allies and partners. She's facing the results of her actions, I said. And that's enough. We continue to build, innovate, and grow. Not out of spite, but because the path is clear and our purpose remains steady. One mentor smiled. You've become a symbol of resilience, not revenge. That's rare and powerful. Yes, I said, feeling the weight of the journey. Strength isn't about retaliation. It's about clarity, patience, and transformation. Heartbreak, betrayal, and loss, they can either destroy us or refine us. I chose refinement. My partners nodded. You've turned pain into brilliance, one said. Into opportunity. That's extraordinary. I've turned betrayal into lessons, heartbreak into strategy, and weakness into clarity, I said quietly. Nothing more, nothing less. And now life flows freely, without interference from the past. As the night ended, I walked alone to the balcony, city lights stretching endlessly. I thought of diamonds formed under pressure, shining brilliantly, unbreakable. My journey forged in betrayal and heartbreak. had created its own brilliance. I whispered softly to myself, "The crown isn't about revenge. It's about rising, stronger, wiser, untouchable. Karma has its place, and I've learned to let it work naturally." In that moment, I felt complete, not triumphant in the sense of malice, but fulfilled in understanding. Mastery, peace. The world had balanced itself. She had faced her consequences. I had transformed mine into opportunity, resilience, and brilliance. And I knew, no matter what came next, I was untouchable.